fucking time, but I just seem to naturally tend to be outside by 10 at around 10 and until 10:30, and that's good for me. I resisted for quite a while because I really want to post this video of Jeanette talking about, like, really, it's so fucking genius. It's such a fucking good video, and it's about struggle. It's about perseverance. It's about the gene key that videos that I'm talking about. It's about having your crown chakra open to receive. And so when I'm in processing mode, I actually kind of don't give a shit if I look like shit, because I know that is a temporary condition, and in part related to this shit I gotta get out. So I kind of play up looking as funny and weird or whatever old ugly as possible. It's also like what's the fucking word? It's like exposure therapy of I don't know, getting to see your many faces. We are a multiplicity of selves. We are not that whole idea that the only way to be healthy is to have one, basically one fully integrated, no variation kind of self. Like it's there's a great book, which anyway I can't get into it, but it's very important to look into Adlerian Adler, the Adler perspective of humans as a multiplicity of selves, and it can be all really healthy. It doesn't have to. It's not like multiple personality. And it's not like that. So anyhow, that's not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about how fucking hilarious it is that Jeanette and I talked all morning earlier last week. We spent a morning experience, like really experiencing together, having this like shadow work in the morning, and then we went outside. Again, it's crucial, especially if it's beautiful out. So on the patio, we had this whole like shadow work experience together, and blame and anger and tears and personalization, right? So then we go outside, and she's journaled now, and she's like, based on everything she's been reading and everything she's been experiencing and this internal reflection, she was able to write like this beautiful personalization of what her experience of struggle was, what it was based on. It's based on rejection, a fear of rejection, and many other things. But so she was able to distill what she's learning, share with me what she had written, had the opportunity to cry some tears, and hear some reflections. Like, I love that there's a point at which I got to say, like, I learn from you every day, in every moment, and we need to hear your wisdom. And her crown, guys, this is so fucking nuts. The sun was right at this height, and I had the camera at the perfect height. I didn't do this on purpose. Where she has the sun sitting on top of her head the whole time she's talking about this having your crown chakra open thing. It's like fucking awesome. And yeah, so we talk about and go through some struggle and perseverance. And so yeah, I want the fucking video to be published. It's just good enough. I'm not even trying that hard to make it like awesome or anything. I just wanted it to be good enough that I think, people they'll overlook they won't get distracted by the imperfections. Eventually, I won't have to spend this time because I'll have an assistant, or I'll feel more comfortable putting a complete rough draft, because I know I am not responsible for managing everybody else's distractibility. It's not my responsibility to, like, I feel silenced when I cannot put something in the world just because it's too rough draft. That no one will pay attention to it if it's real time, or if it's long, or if you whatever, you talk too much. Like, everybody is afraid of, is always like, everybody says I'm too much. The only reason that any one of us might be perceived, I think, accurately as too much is because we're so pent up. It's like a pressure valve release. And if we don't get that on a regular enough basis, if we're not witnessed or heard on a regular enough basis, then problems that you're having in your life become ever increasingly fucking hard. The struggle becomes increasingly fucking difficult because we're not meant to go through all of this shit alone. And by going through it alone, it creates this feeling that you're the fuck up. Oh, everybody thinks you should be able to do everything from content creation, like making from your heart, making from your dream. There's this fucked up expectation that you have to take it yourself. You have to take all of the steps that come in between the creation of something incredible and the actually getting it in the world. And that struggle is what tends to knock the people out who they're not meant to do that. They're not. What's meant to happen is we're in community. What's meant to happen is someone like myself who has an expertise in something that helps a creator be as effective as possible. Take off their plate all the shit that's annoying or that's time consuming or that, there needs to be opportunities for people to give acts of service. And when you are giving that act of service, you get the opportunity to be in the background and hear and see everything that's happening. Everyone, you're accepted and anyway, this is based on a lot of experience that someday I'll tell the story, but okay, the struggle usually knocks most people out because there's only just so much perseverance that most people have. Someone like myself who has had it's a fucking insane amount of perseverance that has been necessary in order for me to get to this moment. And hey, thanks for, if I see comments, I can't respond to them live. So please don't feel like, oh, she's being so rude. No, I have to focus and not get distracted. So thank you for being here. And I will respond later. Okay, so struggle. People get knocked out by the struggle. Yeah, the level of perseverance that I have is like superhuman, and it's in part because I've had to come from, the outbacks of Alaska, living subsistence in essentially a wooden tent without electricity, without indoor plumbing. We eventually got electricity, but it was rough fucking living. It was like kind of what you'd imagine really poor people in Little House on the Prairie, how they live. It was rough. So I came from there, and so obviously the only path forward for me was perseverance. So that's why I take on things like this and don't let them go, because I want to be able to verbalize and like translate for others how the reality of some things and the expectation that these unicorns and geniuses and amazing humans must struggle and persevere and expend so much time, energy, executive functioning, like capacity. They have to expend because they do not have the community who can help them with simple things like making sure that they always have their beverage of choice or beverages of choice and their snacks available. And like that's an act of service and an opportunity for those to, like I said, be quiet in the background, just kind of listen and learn and do the things that are possible so that the unicorn can stay in the flow and can stay in the space of making or doing or saying or whatever the things they're meant to say that only they can say or only they can do. Another act of service that would really reduce the struggle that so many of us have to move through would be people to like help, like, oh, come clean your house now and then. So if somebody came and cleaned my house, even if all they did was clean one room, half an hour, like somebody spent half an hour dedicated focus in one area of my room, it would be sparkling clean. And if there was a handful of people who came and did that, the whole house could be sparkling clean. And that's an act of service that I want so badly to receive. And despite how often I say, the best present for me possible is the gift of time, and one of those things would be a really clean house, and I just don't have the time and energy to do it myself. So so I've said this a number of times. A really good gift for me would be getting me a someone to clean the house. But I don't honestly want to hire a service. I want to hire someone within my community. Yeah, and so they may not necessarily, or it's an act of service. It can be an act of service, but ideally, the healing house would have enough of a budget to be able to, you know, pay something to the folks who are being of service, because we do require some cash in this fucked up world. So that's an idea for another day. So once again, I'm in a position of having to persevere through a struggle that I know most others cannot persevere as long as I can. Like, this just, so I'm keeping track of, and I'm making the notes of, and I'm, you know, getting closer and closer to the ability to translate what's the vision that's in here out into terms that normal humans can understand. People who speak English can understand. People who speak math can understand. I have to get it out of here into that form, so it takes a while to translate. My friend Azaria taught me to drink warm lemon water in the morning, a quart of it, and I added a little bit of lemon balm for flavor. I'm not sure if that's enough to be medicinal, but I'll keep drinking it all day. And that's an act of service that she has given me with her knowledge. Okay, next, this fucking struggle. So, the video is still not posted. I have spent multiple hours on it that really were a significant just fucking waste of my time and energy. And but I know that struggle and that perseverance is so that I can, again, translate what's so important. What would an assistant do? What would somebody who's here in service do, so that I can just, you know, be efficient in the way that I make a clear request with checklists, kind of like an event assistant. If you've ever been an event assistant, you'll understand. There's like this run of show, and all the things you need to set up, and the way it needs to be set up, and it, you know, so like it's easy, but I gotta record I don't know, whatever. I gotta stop there. I don't need to persevere through this line of thought, for fuck's sake. Okay. Fuck. And we're silenced. We're silenced because there's all these barriers. Like, one of the struggles I was fucking going through is the fucking editing program. I don't understand a script yet, so it takes too hard and takes too long for me to edit a video, even though I know in the long term it'll be the best choice. But again, a barrier of money was in the way. I have to upgrade it even more. I'm already paying $25 a month. I have to upgrade it even fucking more in order to get the tools that I really need. And of course, as is always the way, if you're too poor to pay for an annual subscription, then you pay more. It's more of a rent to own fucking like model. You're like, well, if you don't have the money to, you know, pay for an entire year, then fuck you. You have to pay almost double. So that pisses me off. So I switched to CapCut because at least I'm familiar with CapCut, and I thought I had a little bit more free shit to use this month. And the motherfuckers like created this barrier of, you can use these for free. You have 2 more uses. And then I get to export and it's like, sorry, you used some features that are only pro, so either pay us money or, you know, you can't have it. And so at that point I was like, it's $10. Granted, it would have been a good investment for me because it would have saved me more hours, but it's $10 that they were holding me hostage for. And so this morning I finally relented. But I think if I was like a quote unquote normal content creator, aspiring content creator, if I really, really didn't have the money, as is true for most, then all of that work would just be basically lost. And so I decided I'm going to figure out a different way to get it to not have to pay the pro. And I did figure it out. But I decided not to go through the time-consuming experience of it right now. I'm just gonna have to write down the steps of what I did. Basically, I uploaded it to my online space, opened CapCut on my phone, and then was going to play the video with the captions that they're like, you can't, these aren't free anymore. With the captions, I was just going to screen record. I was just going to record the screen. So then comes in, that's when I realized the next fucking barrier to struggle through and persevere through is in order to kind of spend a little less time listening to what we were saying, I sped it up to 1.2. So I quickly realized, shit, we sound like we've huffed some fucking helium, and this is too important of stuff to make it, for it to sound like we've just huffed some helium. So now I have to like slow it down. But for some reason now it's like, now this fucking setting that I thought would be 2 seconds was no longer an option, and it didn't seem to, I mean, like, then I had to kind of like, what, I thought it was only 0.2, and so shouldn't I just be able to go to 0.8 and it'd be right? Why do I still sound like helium? And so I finally had to come to the point of going, okay, Jeanette sounds pretty normal. It's okay that I still sound a little bit squeaky. Fuck it. Okay. Yeah, so that was yet another struggle I had to persevere through, and I'm annoyed about the time. And the annoyance is not me having a tantrum. The annoyance is information of what's not available. And what's not available is, you know, if money is required for having my needs met, in this case, I think it is, the gift I would most love to have would be a gift certificate or something of an annual Descript subscription, a gift of an annual CapCut subscription, a gift of an annual Zoom with you know, and all of these need to be the upper level where they've got more storage so that I don't have to fucking worry about that shit too. It's another thing. I spend so fucking much time, wasted time, and this is a delegatable task, cleaning up my storage, online storage, because those fuckers have figured out a million ways to make you pay, again, a barrier of money, make you pay in order to have like the amount of storage you need if you never have the time to fucking clean out your storage. So then you reach a point where it says, okay, you have no more storage, so until you delete some stuff, you're fucked. So you either pay us or spend the time to clean out your storage. Like, it's so fucking annoying. Again, if I had assistance, then it would be on the task list what video it is, where the files are, when you're done with a particular file, delete it immediately, or keep track of what it is so you can go delete them all. And then you know, once the final is uploaded to YouTube, like, gotta make sure that all the old files are deleted from the computer because it bloats the fucking storage. And if it's done as you go, then it's actually pretty easy. The fucking problem is that then time lags are introduced, and so I have to wait until it's actually uploaded, and usually by then I've forgotten what fucking video I was working on. So this fucking bind that I'm constantly in because I don't have the help. This is what community would do. I don't have the help needed in order to take care of those little tasks and wait for me, because all of that time, that's all tech shit that did not need me at all. I could have given direction of what I was looking for and turned it loose on someone else. That meant I wasn't doing self-care for myself, which I really need. I wasn't spending relaxed time with my partner, which I really need. We really need. I wasn't spending time crafting or talking to friends or just chilling and playing my video game. Like, I wasn't able to do any of those fucking things, those life-giving things, because I don't have all my needs met. I am still struggling in the space where I can't get my needs met in this world, because it requires that you trade your time for money to earn this fucking bullshit called cash, which is based on nothing. You guys need to understand that it is just pieces of paper. There is no gold. The gold standard's been gone for a long time. And that fucking idea that, I don't know if it was even important anyway, that the bank always had to hold a certain amount of money in like, literally in the bank. In March 2020, those motherfuckers fucking removed that. And so now banks can, like, they don't have to hold a fucking cent on hand. And so that means that they create money by loan. It's oh my God, Phoenix explained it really fucking well. And I want to record her talking about that, because it's essential that people come to understand the dollar. The dollar in particular is what's called a fiat currency. And a fiat currency means somebody in power can just fucking decide one day to change it. Hey, you know what? The dollar doesn't do anything anymore. In India, they actually one day, no warning, just said I don't know the actual amount, but there was a very important rupee note that, you know, like one of the primary ones everybody uses. Like for us, it would be a $20 bill. And just all of a sudden they're like, they don't work anymore. You can't exchange them. That money just is no longer of any value. And that's what can happen with a fiat currency. So, yeah. So anyhow, this made up shit, this fiat currency that I do not have the energy to go out and spend the time to go like make a little bit of money, say $25 to $35 an hour, doing something that is exhausting, Lyft driving, when if I was able to stay home, if I didn't have to worry about making that fucking money so that I can pay these fucking subscriptions that hold my work hostage and slow everything down, what I would create from that place is so exciting, but I can't put it into words yet because so much of my fucking verbal time and executive functioning has to go to this bullshit. So those who aren't able to persevere through all of that, or just genuinely cannot access the funds at all, aren't able to persevere through that, and they are silenced through that lack of financial support and that lack of people helping them just make sure that they eat. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to these unicorns who need support, who will say, I just can't seem to remember to eat. I'm not feeding myself well. I need to eat better. But it's exhausting, and there's too much trouble, and there's no one around to help. So that's one of the fucking things that doesn't happen when you're exhausted by having to earn this bullshit piece of paper in order to pay these bullshit bills that wouldn't even be necessary if you didn't have to buy all these fucking subscriptions in order to do the work you're supposed to do in the world. If we were living in the land of generosity, if we were living in the world that Charles Eisenstein tries to describe as the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible, it's already here. I'm already mostly living in it, but the bullshit of no one's in the Western world not understanding the concept of dana. And if I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. But it is a Buddhist practice. It is obviously proven to be effective. And those who are in a position of teaching or creating or modeling or leading or whatever, those who do do things that no one else can do, they are supported by the community. They are supported by the people who benefit from their work. They are supported by, just their needs get met without them having to worry about it at all. But in America, in the Western world, in capitalist world, you're told, prove your value by charging your value, and only work with the people who can pay that, and do not give your gifts away. And so we're silenced and stymied by knowing that this thing that feels fucking terrible, commodifying your gifts, it feels fucking horrible to commodify them, to have to choose what's going to make me the most money the fastest. That feels like shit. But that's what's required unless support is given. So that's why I'm so passionate about talking about and kind of teaching and sharing resources about that practice, about how we can live in the more abundant world that, you know, people dream of. I didn't live here years ago. In 2019, my friend Sophia and I had to talk about it constantly, to constantly be reminding each other of trust. We could surrender, go in the flow, it'll all work out. But we kept getting stuck in this like, fuck, we're so broke because we can't commodify this enough. We can't seem to get anybody to like, they'll take it for free, but they give no like gratitude gifts. And it's not just money, and it's not really coming from a place of expectation. It's just coming from a place of like, why don't people like give gifts to the teacher anymore? Yesterday I took Nettle tea to Phoenix because she's teaching a class on Bitcoin. That's an act of gratitude. Troy came over and she brought me some beautiful clothes that she's like, I think this might be good for, you know, Jeanette, and I thought this would look really nice on you. And I mean, so lovely. Like, that is a gift from the heart of true abundance, because I don't buy clothes. I don't spend money on fucking clothes anymore unless like it's like really a good deal. Less than $5 for a t-shirt that's normally 15 or something, I might buy that. But if it's not a thrift store price, I won't buy it. And I can't buy clothes at thrift stores because they always smell. So it's so easy to be of service and to be in community. And the pain caused by the loneliness of not being in community is insane. And it creates that pain leads to actual, true physiological fucking illness. And it's so extraordinarily expensive to be somebody with chronic illness in this world, because the majority of what we truly absolutely need is not covered by any fucking insurance. And so we have to figure out ways to find the money, to get the money to you see the fucking bind, to buy all these things, supplements, treatments that aren't covered by insurance, just all the fucking shit. Reiki, that shouldn't be commodified. That should be gifted from the, you know, from like true abundance and knowledge that you are taken care of. And if you give freely of your gifts, I'm just giving an example of Reiki, then you can trust, this is what we're moving towards, you can trust that all of your needs will be met because you're giving your gift, someone is receiving your gift and is benefiting from that gift, and without having to give money to benefit from that gift. And we would all live more abundantly if we gave from a place of where our resource lies. And so Troy also told me this fucking amazing story where she's a combo practitioner, and she's like, you know, I have a range and I let people pay, you know, what they choose. Unfortunately, in this day and age, the majority of fucking people want to pay the very minimum. They want to live in this fucking Walmart mentality that we're all stuck in because we don't want to, because it's impossible to work enough to make enough fucking money to pay for things like combo treatments. And so they rarely give generously. But she said this woman that she just worked with had earmarked, like, I don't remember, it was like $1,100. I don't remember how much. Had earmarked this significant amount of money for savings, I think is what she said. And she did these treatments with Troy, and she just knew that it was so impactful and so powerful and so valuable to her that her investment and gift to Troy of, I might have it wrong, but $1,100 or whatever, really lifted Troy up, really would like, and made her really, rightfully so, feel frustrated that if those who worked with her were more generous and were just looking for like a little bit of a stretch, like not a how little can I pay for it to be reasonable, and so that I can still go to all the dances and I can still go to all the events that I have to pay to go to see my friends. So how can I spread it out enough? Okay, so I'm going to pay, even though I know that this value, this thing that Troy does is so valuable, is literally life-changing to some. I haven't experienced it yet. I just talked to a lot of people who are like, combo is wow. So anyhow, she was like, if more people paid from a place, gifted from a place of generosity, people who do have the resources of cash, instead of like someone like herself and me and our little crew of friends, where we're fucking scrabbling for money, and people like receive of our gifts, but it feels more like a taking, because the majority of them are giving the bare minimum. And it doesn't even have to all be money. I need to make that super clear. It's resources that we need. We don't actually even want a ton of cash, because we can get our needs met in alternative ways without cash. And if we receive cash, then not only does it feel transactional, but it also like puts the onus back on us to be like, okay, well, here's the money to do the thing you said you wanted, but you need to figure out how, you need to take the time to buy the subscription. And we all know that takes time. Even 15 minutes is super valuable. So yeah. And then it can become a potential tax liability. And that's the other rub. And it's a way to keep people in poverty. Let's say there's this very low income level, where if you exceed this income level, I don't remember what it is, but it's really fucking low, can't really live on it in this fucking world. If you go above that, I would lose my Oregon health plan, which is a very good health plan. It really does have a lot of what I need. And if I lost it, it would be fucking devastating. And there's no way that I could afford to get something in the marketplace. How the fuck did healthcare become fucking profit? God damn it. So I would lose that. I do currently qualify for what used to be called food stamps, but it's, SNAP or food assistance, okay? So I currently qualify for that. And if I receive too much cash, I would lose that. So say, I can't remember what the level is, but say it's $1,500. If I made over whatever that level is, then I would lose a $250 support. I would lose really quite a bit of money to buy my basic needs, because I reach this fucking stupid threshold that is way below what people can live on. And so all of this keeps us in poverty. We even have to strategize and think about, how can I live as abundantly as possible with as little money as possible, so that I don't lose these benefits and these resources that I truly completely need, that everybody's like, oh, well, the government won't give you resources, no, you don't have to, we're paying through our taxes. If you had any fucking idea how difficult it is to access the fucking resources that you pay for, I would wish that you would be super fucking outraged, because I'm paying all this money in my taxes, and the people who are supposed to benefit from it can't access it, because we've created such a stupid fucking system that is so like labyrinth and asinine and filled with fucking middle management that makes shit up, and people who are poorly trained, that there's this maze, this pretty much fucking impossible maze that creates this insane amount of struggle, this insane amount of time, and very few can persevere through it. Every time I have to persevere through the fucking system, it reminds me, I have a college degree. I have a professional background where I've learned how to do these things. I have a lot of experience of getting through these systems. I know that they're annoying. Very few other people, I'm like, oh my God, what is it like for the people without a degree? What is it like for the people who don't have the perseverance because they're exhausted or they're distracted or they just don't know how, and it's really complicated and confusing? So they don't access the resources. They stay stuck in poverty, even though there is resources available to them, but they're meager, and you have to work hard to get them. That's another thing that people need to understand. it's exhausting. In fact, we have a full-time job to try to get out of poverty while we're in poverty. This is not. Yeah. So this was helpful. Sitting on the ground with bare feet was helpful. I could have taken my whatever. I've been drinking this. One of the messages that I've learned to receive from the universe is when my tech shit is when there's like crap happening, things are very slow. I try to, as quickly as possible, take that as a message to get off the digital shit. I just couldn't this morning. I was like, I know I need to stop because I know you're showing me all the signs that I need to stop, but it's just a little bit more and then I'll be able to get this done. So I pushed myself, which I wouldn't have to do if I had the support that's needed. And what also is really fucking annoying is I have a solution to the problems I keep talking about, the struggles that so many have. They don't know how to start a business. They don't know how to commodify themselves. And so they just get stuck in poverty. They get stuck living in places that are unhealthy for them. And they don't know how to get out. And they just say, please help me. I need somebody to help me. I don't know how to do this. But because community is like, oh, I will make a message on your Facebook page, but I'm not going to do anything else. That's not community. That's not offering your gifts and expertise in order to help another out of fucking poverty. Together we rise, but only if we do it together. And you're super fucked if you have anything like a chronic illness, or you're single mom, or some other super fucking hard difficulty in life. You're super duper fucked because nobody offers to help, or at least very rarely. And that leads to extreme exhaustion. That leads to a lot of time crying on the floor. That leads to a lot of times crying out for help. That leads to a lot of pain and suffering when you make a specific request and no one responds. And so that's part of the reason that I give so freely of my expertise. I am trying really hard to show people how to do it. Trying really hard to model, because that's really how we learn from each other. And so I feel silenced when I'm spending time with another really fucking amazing person. When I'm spending time with them and they won't let me record our conversation, then it becomes something that is not as powerful as it could be. Many of these conversations that I have with people really would be a growth point. They're really fucking good, but when someone won't let me record it, they're silencing both of us, and they're taking away the opportunity from those who could learn from us. They're saying, no, I don't want to. I am too afraid. I am too afraid of the potential ramifications. We've been taught never to let yourself be recorded, and that keeps us silent. That keeps us separate. That makes it too difficult to spread your word. So that's why I let other people watch me live. Because I know that's the best way for all of us to learn. If you make it all come through words, then you really can't get the whole experience. So when I invite someone to my home, the field of infinite possibilities, when I invite someone to my home, I want to receive them as a hostess. But I also want to receive them as if someone else is there with us, getting the opportunity to see some friends welcoming each other. It seems like such a simple thing, but somehow we've lost it where you don't get to see other people welcome each other. And then one of the things I do as a hostess is show my guest around. I might show them where the bathroom is. I might give them some offerings. And in this case, I made some nettle tea. It was already sitting there and waiting for us. And I suggested that we do some grounding outside to have a bit of a check-in. That's how I like to do things with my friends. But unfortunately, if somebody has to have everything verbalized before they can land, then that puts a barrier of communication and presence between us. It is so much more time and energy consuming to have to use a bunch of words before we can come into presence. And the fear of being recorded keeps you in the place of I wanna be witnessed, I wanna be heard, I wanna be seen fully. But if you won't let yourself be recorded, then there's only these tiny opportunities of time when you line up with someone else in order to do that in person, one-on-one. Also, if it's recorded, you can treat it like a mirror practice. You can go back and listen or go back and watch, and you can say to yourself, wow, is that really what I look like? And that's really what I sound like? And you get to have an objective experience with something that happened, and maybe in your mind it became kind of darker and twisted than it really was. Maybe your nervous system was so elevated that you couldn't even hear what I was saying. And I was doing my best as a good hostess to create the opportunity for grounding and presence and a check-in. The words and understanding that I can hold rarely come along with the words. I usually have to wait until the words have presented themselves. And if I force myself to come up with words, they're rarely the ones that I really meant to use, but put under pressure. So that's why I like to create the opportunities for us to come back to something whenever we want, whenever it feels like a good time. And through this mirror practice, you get to see objectively, yet you also get to realize the camera angle matters a lot. And so if you look at it and go, holy shit, I look like crap, I can't handle it, I don't want anybody to see me like that, that is usually just a bad camera angle. And it'll also show you that there's a full truth, and one perspective may be true, but it's distorted. And so you need to remember that you are a more complete human than just that one angle. And realize that you know the truth is more complete instead of focusing a lot on that skewed, unflattering angle, we... Okay, what time is it? 42. I've been going for 45 minutes. Okay. My voice used to be really difficult to listen to. It really wasn't what you would objectively call pretty. And so when I would try to sing, really, I think it was to clear my throat chakra. And because my throat chakra was so clogged, I don't want to hear your voice. You make too much noise. That obviously does some clogging. And if I say something that sounds kind of rude or sounds kind of crude or sounds kind of mad, or if it sounds kind of anything that isn't pleasant, I'm told you can't talk to me like that. And instead of giving me the opportunity to practice coming from a place of really fucking frustrated to just being heard. Because the way I cleared my voice is I sang a lot, I roared a lot, I made a lot of sounds of all kinds. But because people freak out if they hear you yelling or screaming or crying, or your voice sounds like shit, since you have to hide that, I did it in my car and at home. And unfortunately, my daughter had to hear that a lot. And later I realized that she kind of thought I was upset at or about her. Because that's what kids do. They personalize it. That is a childlike and perfectly age-appropriate behavior. But once someone is like moving into adulthood, it is time for them to take some realization that it's not about them. Whatever is happening in the moment. If you're an adult, whatever's happening is just a reflection of each other. But if you take it all fucking personally, you haven't moved out of the teenager kind of behavior system. As an adult, it's... Okay, I gotta stop. So anyhow, through making a lot of sounds and singing a lot and screaming a lot of really inspirational music and humming a lot, and I later learned that that is a really good vagus nerve exercise. And so it's cleared my throat chakra quite a bit, and has helped me to realize that when I am in my right brain, most everything usually comes out easier and flows more because I can sing. And all of that has cleared my throat chakra, so now pretty often my voice actually sounds pretty good. And I have a lot of friends who also love to sing. And when they're in their right brain, that's really when they want to sing their lives. They want to sing what's happening. If we were together, we could harmonize. But unfortunately, we aren't. And so there's all of these people who need to sing out their thoughts. And unfortunately, they believe that their voice sucks. And that is an inaccurate perception. Objectively, my friend Ayana's voice that I've heard many times is truly beautiful. And yet she doesn't believe it, and she's still embarrassed to use her voice in front of other people. So I finally do believe and understand that it is possible for most of us to have a beautiful singing voice. But it requires clearing all that shit that you've held in here because you've been told, don't speak, don't talk to me like that. You're being an asshole or whatever it is. Quit making all that noise. all of that. You're too much, you have too big of feelings, you have too many words. Need to shut that up or keep that to yourself. I don't want to hear it, get out of my hair. Those are the kind of things we hear. And of course that really blocks your throat chakra really bad. Okay. So a really exciting opportunity has come up. Unfortunately, it's been created by fragrances and my inability to physically process fragrances. Unfortunately, my really nice housemate, he's really very cool and interesting and fun. Unfortunately, he goes to lots of stuff and they use lots of smelly stuff. And it gets on his clothes and then he brings it home. And his entire room now smells like something that I just can't tolerate. It makes my throat close up. It makes my chest hurt. It makes me cough and wheeze. It makes me really tired and it really pisses me off because then I can't go drive. I can't drive if I take some Benadryl. I can't drive if I'm too foggy in the head from the fucking neurotoxins that people put on their bodies. The only good news is that it's easy to depersonalize this one. It really isn't anything about our personages that's making it so he has to move out. If everything was great, we really could keep living together. But unfortunately, there's nothing he can do, 'cause once fabrics have the fucking smells on them, they never come out. Okay, once in a while, like 10% of the time, you might be able to rehabilitate that fabric. But for the most part, these fucking forever chemicals, and it can be in, it's, I know incense isn't necessarily a chemical. I know that essential oils aren't necessarily a chemical, but there comes a point when even those are toxic. So unfortunately, because it's impossible to move through this world without being around people who use that toxic shit, and they don't realize that even I gave somebody a hug who's like, I know I don't have fragrance on me, but whatever fragrance was on their jacket from whenever sometime that fragrance came into contact with it, got on my clothes, and I had to change my shirt and sweatshirt and my little jacket because I couldn't stop smelling it. It's fucking insane. So I'm really bummed, but it creates an opportunity. It doesn't take long to find the silver lining. He's already found the silver lining, and he's like, well, I was gonna go live with my daughter this summer anyway, and so I'll just look for a more long-term place. It's fine. It'll be fine. So the silver lining is he has a really cool room with its own private bathroom, and it's really close to the back door. And so what I would really love is to find a way to pay for it so we can keep that room open. Because if we had that room open, then when people need a place to go, even if it's one night, they can come stay at our house instead of their van or whatever they're doing. And if someone needs a bit more than that, it would be so fantastic if my friends who really need some support could just come stay at my house. and they can relax and know that their food will be taken care of. They'll be cared for and loved and also left alone as much as they want. But anytime they want to be around other people, it's an option. And there are many of us that the only way we can heal the relational wounds, particularly the ones of abandonment and rejection, and probably sexual trauma too, unless we have the opportunity to be in relationships where we're reminded of those things and have the opportunity to have a new experience, stimulus. If that is created, if that opportunity doesn't arise, then how in the fuck can we ever heal those relational wounds? There comes a point you can't do it by yourself. There comes a point when you just have to step into that discomfort with people you trust and practice the things like making requests and receiving. The receiving is just as important, if not more, than making the request, because so often folks will make the request and then they just will not receive the gift. So anyhow, if the healing house could be started right now, that would be amazing. And I really don't even need that much in order to pay for it. We just have to pay for the room. We just have to pay for the basic resources we'd need to feed them and clothe them and take care of them. Which means I would need funding so that I can stay home and I don't have to go fucking drive around town and hope I don't crash or nobody crashes into me. And I have to hope that nobody gets in my car that will make me have an anaphylactic reaction. So what would be way better is if I could just stay home and I could take care of the friends and people who are staying, someone who is staying in the healing house room. Because can you imagine if you were just cared for and taken care of and could just fully relax for an entire week? What would that do for you? And if people just believed in you and took care of you and trusted you and said, hey, I know you're being grumpy right. No, you're behaving in a grumpy way. You aren't being that. You are behaving in a grumpy way. And it's kind of uncomfortable for both of us. But here you go right now. There is an opportunity. What sort of reassurance could I give you so you can rest into the receiving or whatever it is that you need? There is an opportunity, and I can be with you in that. And sometimes it's Brian that you need. So we have this really lovely pair of us of masculine and feminine energy. And we're in the place of our lives where we need to give back. But because of this stupid fucking commodification of gifts and community, there's this barrier of us giving our gifts because people say, I can't afford it. And it's so fucking stupid. It's such a fucking hole that's so hard to get out of. And all that's really needed for most of us is just really some help with doing the stupid, annoying business aspects of what it takes to get from dream to reality. And when you create from that place of being fully supported and not drained by all the bullshit, I do truly believe that most of us that are very chronically ill or some other way totally in hell, if we just had some time, it might even be a week to be in a healing space. It might be enough to break the spell of the dark place. And you need help to be guided and your hand held. It's not that just Jesus that can walk alongside you on the beach. There can pretty much always be 2-foot paths. But if you really need to be carried, as most of us do, we'll do that before you're completely exhausted and in crisis. If we lived in community, we would end up in crisis so often. because we'd get the help we need before we're in crisis. And once again, creating from a place of fear and desperation. I also need funding for the Day Tripper program. One aspect of the healing house is to create a space for collaboration and co-creation, and also just some basic body doubling, because it was really cool yesterday when my friend Troy was over. She needed some time to just re-regulate, and instead of leaving like she felt like she needed to, I invited her to stay. Please stay in this very comfortable place, and if you need anything, I'm happy to get it for you. But I'm just gonna go over here and go back to work so we can both be in the same room doing different things, and it's good for both of us. So a Day Tripper program would allow the time and space for people to do that, and they can come during those times and use one of the resources that we have on offer, or just be around other people, or maybe there's collaborative projects we need to do. God damn it. But as always, the thing in the way is the time to do it, because everyone's exhausted from having to make some money so that they can finally do their things. And so they don't have the energy to come over or show up on Zoom because they need the help that's available here, but they're too exhausted to get here. And even if they do finally make it over, they're so dysregulated and exhausted that they can't even fully enjoy themselves. So yet again, if there was an opportunity, it's so loud. Okay. So once again, if there was an opportunity for people to come over and use the things that they need in order to feel better, whether that be a vibroacoustic chair, or a really cozy place to hang out, or a video game, or someone to read you a story. We even have a little sauna and a rebounder. We have all these amazing things that I want to share. And because everybody's too exhausted by the system, they can't come over and receive. God damn it. And because I also have to go make some stupid motherfucking money, I can't be here when they need it. I wish I could just have drop-in hours, and I wish I had some help to do all that stuff. So I come back full circle to we need the community to support this dream, because there's too many people lying on the floor in the darkness by themselves just saying, why won't anybody help me? It would be so easy for someone to help me, and I just gotta keep lying here and waiting it out. That sucks. That sucks so much. And so I want to be able to invite Azaria over to be taken care of and cared for and just spend time together. I want Danielle to be able to come over. She's in this horrible living environment where her parental figure is not supportive or helpful at all, is just detrimental. And she's also somebody who, if she were here, I could teach her some of the things that need to be done, which becomes a marketable skill, which, you know, at some point, if I had the funding, I could pay her to learn these things. I think people should be paid to learn. It should be paid training programs supported by community, because then when somebody has marketable skills, has learned to fish instead of just been given a fucking fish, has learned to fish, then they can move on to supporting the other people on my team, in the Scrappy startup team. They can help them, and if we have the funding, then those people who need that help don't have to figure out how to fucking pay for it. And so the assistant gets to increase in their skill level. They get to provide a service that removes that barrier between the creator and the and the creation and the release of that creation and the sharing of that creation and all the fucking shit that goes into it. It's impossible for one person to do it. When we worked for organizations, and some of my folks have never worked for an organization, when we worked for an organization, we had a team and someone else did the stuff that we weren't good at. And we spoke in community, in like committee, and we're like, hey, I have ideas. Oh, let's use our distributed intelligence to put those ideas together and create from, it's not 1 + 1 is 2, it's 1 + 1 is 3, and 2 + 2 is like 7. I don't know the fucking math, it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to make a point. I want Phoenix to be able to come over. She just, she's had a hard time. Fuck. It's fucking insane. If I had an open room, she could come over. We can do whatever it is that she needs in order to finally be able to, like, recover from this extreme fucking trauma. So there might be times when somebody needs to be here for months. I don't know. Can't rush shit. And if we have appropriate support from the community, then we don't have to rush it. That's the fucking problem. You can't rush your healing. There's even a song about that. You can't rush your healing. And you can't do it all by yourself. And you can't avoid your triggers forever, because then you're keeping yourself in a tiny little box of fear. The only way we can move forward in this fucking world is to live the new paradigm, to model the new paradigm, to demonstrate it, to invite others to experience it, to join you in it. But I am fucking delighted that many of the geniuses that I met in the context of Soulsara workshops have gone on to break those chains and have gone on to create. Like Shane Berry is a fucking incredible example. Sage Liskey, he's written, oh my God, these people are incredible. And we would have this transformative experience together. I need to not be on a busy street. I fucking hate all the loud fucking vehicles. Okay. So we would sit in the closing circle, and the folks who have been there, they'll know what I'm talking about. We would sit in this closing circle and kind of be talking about reflecting on the weekend and whatever. And then, Larry and Carrie and Sarah Eden, whoever, would ask the question, what are you going to take from here? What are you going to do differently? I mean, I don't remember the real question, but something like that. What are you going to do differently? And so we'd start thinking about that. And I know after my first immersion, the thing I committed to and did do was hold eye contact with strangers slightly longer. And it led to a lot of surprise connection. And it was pretty cool. And I didn't overdo it. But anyhow, so we all would sit in this circle, and someone would say at some point, this was transformative. This was amazing. It felt incredible. How in the heck do I continue to experience this in the real world? It's not the real world. It's some fucking construct that we've all agreed to, and it's bullshit. So anyhow, we'd sit in the circle, and someone would say that. And they would usually be crying. Sometimes I would say it, but whoever it was would be crying. They'd be like, how do we take this out there? This is what I've been looking for. This is what I need. How do we continue it out there when, no one else knows how to do this? And that was true then, for sure. But what's awesome is so many of the people that I met, particularly in 2017 and 18, in Soulsara workshops, have gone on to they're incredible. So at some point, I need to do a whole video just on each of those. Like, each person who is really fucking excelled. And all of us have continued to fucking struggle and have to persevere because we don't have enough support from the world and the community, on and on. Okay, I'm almost done. Good, I'm almost done. Okay, see, there's a lot to get out, and so I have to purge it in order to be able to move through it and get to the next level of understanding. Okay, another example. I want to share as many examples over time as possible of concrete ways to live in the relational economy. This is another story. Compliments of Troy. Uh, she's amazing. Like, it's so distressing and upsetting and disappointing that she is not well supported and has the resources she needs, because she has so, oh my God, fucking genius, and she's exhausted and sick, and it's terrible, and would be so easy, so simple for her to receive the help she needs. So anyhow, her car, which is also her home, I think, unless she has a car and a van, I don't know, needed repairs. And she didn't have the 650 fucking bucks that was going to be required in order for her to have a car, in order to be able to have a livelihood, in order to be able to get around this resource that she so badly needs. And really, 650 bucks is not that fucking much money, but it doesn't matter if you really don't fucking have it. It could be $1 billion, so whatever. Except for, in this case, it didn't have to be $1 billion. It didn't have to be completely out of reach, because the mechanic and she got into a conversation about, yeah, there was an opportunity for them to ride together. I can't remember why, but they had this opportunity to talk a little more at length, and realized that Troy offers something and is really great at something that he really wanted and needed, but he didn't know what it was called. He didn't know how to find it. He didn't even really know he needed it until he heard her kind of tell him what it is that she has to offer. And so they decided, like, it was a reasonable and fair reciprocal exchange for him to do the work on her car, because we all know it's mostly work, and it's not, and the parts aren't that big of an investment. So because he had the resources to provide the service to fix her car, and gift her that, she then could, from a place of joy and feeling resourced and not having to go spend the fucking time to rustle up that money or get more in credit debt. I don't know what her situation is, but I know I'm in fucking credit debt because of this shit. So anyhow, they were able to pair up, and they were both fucking happy with the arrangement. And it wasn't a transaction. It was a recognition of, I have a need with a equivalent of a value of this much currency, and you have the ability to do it, and with very little investment of currency, and I have something that's amazing that I can give you. Reciprocity, relational economy, saving Troy the time and energy of having to earn fucking money to transaction with somebody who has to also transaction everything and has to charge a higher and higher amount in order to keep their needs met. But if we didn't need so much fucking currency, if more people worked within this framework of a relational economy, none of us would need as much fucking cash. And we would all feel more connected, because we'd have the opportunity to talk about these things. We'd have the opportunity to talk about what we're amazing at. We'd have the opportunity to receive what our people are amazing at. It's fucking lunacy. I think if I start again, I'll get on another really big rant, and I don't have it in me now. It's time to go eat. I do wish I had help. If I had someone here to help me, they would bring me my oatmeal already made, and I wouldn't even have to get up. And I wouldn't have to spend that 15 minutes, and it would probably take longer, because I'll get forgetful, and I'll forget what I was doing, and I'll walk away, and then I'll still be hungry. But if I had somebody to help me, I wouldn't have to spend any of that fucking time or energy. Bonkers how much content that my team and myself especially can pump out with fucking help. So, all right, it's distilling. I'll keep. All right, I'm getting closer to what it is that I need in order to be able to write things. The words will arrive, and ChatGPT is my buddy, and what I've been asking for and needing is super helpful. At some point I'll have to fucking pay for it, though, because it'll cut me off. Okay, all right, rant over. Rant, bye.